G'day, how are ya? Yeah, bloody awesome and stuff. All right. G'day, my name's Peterson. I'm the head of sound here at Cirque du Soleil's Corteo Arena show, and we are here on one of the many stops on the North American leg of the tour. I've been with the show for just over a year now, and it's been a lot of fun. We've toured through a lot of cities in Canada and the US. It's about a clown who's died, and it's about his kind of movement through into the afterlife, and you're seeing all the events of his life he had, all his friends and family. It's really special because it's about a real person, and so all the makeup and the themes are all about people and humanity, and some of the acts are really incredibly lifelike. The traditional Cirque du Soleil setting for shows was in a big top or a grand chapiteau, so a giant circus tent, and this show actually did 10 years in a circus tent before moving into this arena adaptation. What this show brings that is different to other Cirque shows, especially in the arena sense, is that we're not performing to a downstage audience, we're performing to two separate sides, and that really keeps the intimate feel that the big top version of the show has moving into arena as well. So we're kind of doing an in the round style show, and the audience are looking across at each other. It's a very intimate feel. It's a really interesting stage. There's a lot of dynamic movement. We've got angels flying in and out of the picture. We also have a large revolve around the stage, so artists and musicians are constantly moving about. For sound, that's kind of interesting because we have a lot of musicians who get out from their band pits and they're actually playing on stage as well. So everyone has wireless microphones and in-ears so they can play and be quite agile on stage. So there's a lot of movement, a lot of change of image with the music and the sound. One of our challenges in audio is bringing the image from a solo character on stage to a full live song that might be played supporting an act as well. And there's some songs that are really big and powerful, like a rock show almost, and there's some songs that are really intimate. We have an artist who does a silk act, which is also singing. And we want that to be powerful, but in a really closed environment. A lot of the sound, we're really pushing and pulling image, we're pushing and pulling emotions and feeling, and wherever you're sitting in the audience, we want to try and replicate that feeling. So if you're sitting down the front, you might be looking up at the stage. If you're sitting down the back, you might be seeing the entire stage, but we want to have the same experience for everybody. So here at Corteo, we have a lot of moving parts, obviously. It's a big show, a big production. So we start with load-in day at the start of the week. It takes a full day to load in the show. We're starting at 7 a.m., marking up the floor. And by the end of the day, we've got everything tuned. Everything's ready to go for the show the next day. We have 21 semi-trailers in North America at the moment. It goes in one day and comes out in a number of hours afterwards at the end of the week. Once we're in for load-in, the motors are up, we're flying the PA, we're putting the band pits in place, and we're getting all the cables run. It's a full team effort. There's 4 people in the sound department, and we have over 150 different cabinets in the air. So there's a lot of speakers going on, a lot of different spots. On the show, we have not only a front of house system, we also have surround speakers as well. So there's a lot of sound effects moving around the room. We do a lot of localization of the singers as well, whether upstage or downstage. So we take that into consideration for when we're putting our cabinets up in the air, and what we're tuning and how we're tuning as well. On our premiere day, we're running a full sound check with the band, making sure they're happy with all their in-ears, making sure our mics are set and ready, and making sure the levels are suitable for that venue. Every venue we go to, there'll be a different audience number, a completely different arena, and that's a big part of touring in an arena world. We have a PA tech dedicated to making sure that the same show is presented everywhere we go, and that's a big challenge we have. You might notice uniquely a lot of our PA is all gold as opposed to black cabinets in the air. It blends in really well with the set and the set design, and it really fits in with what's going on stage. During the week, we have a number of performances, anywhere up to 10. So we're busy doing the shows, running maintenance, building some new projects, always keeping busy. And then by the end of the week, by Sunday, we do 2 shows. We're loading out down to about 3 hours now, and we're getting on the plane or the bus to the next city. So for me, as a kid, I really was passionate about sound. I was performing in theater and playing music as much as most of us kind of get into the industry that way. I really fell in love with speakers and microphones and recording music as well. I was pretty determined by about probably 15 that live sound was what I wanted to do. So I was doing everything I could to go work at music festivals and concerts, pushing cases, the way that a lot of us kind of get into the industry. For me, the kind of turning point in my career is when I started moving from shows that were kind of small club shows into arenas and arena tours, and working with PA that was much bigger than I'd seen before, and really vast, complicated systems. And it was really exciting. You know, I was sometimes out of my depth a lot, and you kind of get trial by fire. But yeah, certainly working with some artists that I enjoyed myself personally is a really kind of a cool and rewarding experience to have. And then with Cirque du Soleil, I approached Kuza when it was touring in Australia, and I ended up landing a job with them after a lot of persuasion and pestering the front of house guy, who's actually now one of my really close friends. That was really fun. It was a great experience and a great start with Cirque du Soleil. Cirque du Soleil was a company I really wanted to work for a number of years since I was a kid. I'd seen the shows. Quidam was the first one I saw when I was 6 years old. So it had always been something that was part of my life. And I met a number of people who worked for the company who loved the shows and the atmosphere. So it's really rewarding for me now, years later, to be in this environment and to be doing my part with the company. Touring with Cirque du Soleil is a lot of fun. We have a great professional environment where we're working with some of the top-of-the-line equipment and artists, and the shows are really well put together. But seeing every city each week and getting to know different places you probably normally wouldn't go to is a real treat and a real highlight of the tour. Certainly, the environment we're in, where we're working with industry professionals, and the artists themselves and the acts they perform are absolutely incredible. So it's really rewarding for us to put on a show that is at such a great caliber. The sound plays a really important role by reinforcing the music and the imagery of the music in relation to the artists on stage. So if an artist has an act that needs to look as big as possible or actually look as small as possible, we can really do that with not only the dynamics of the band, but also the dynamics of how we're mixing the show and where we're placing things visually as well in relation to the ear. So it's really important for the audience to take in the full immersive experience of the act with the music. And they really go hand in hand. Whenever you talk to an audience member at a show, a lot of the time they're not going to say, wow, the sound was great, or the sound was this. It's usually, the music was great, or the music made me feel this way or that way. And that's kind of how we like it, because we don't want people to think about sound, but we want people to think about the music and how fantastic the music was on the show. So we really want to reinforce that and create that emotion and imagery through the sound, but really through the music. And we're just supporting them in the entire way.